Hey guys, sorry for not posting anything the other day. You already know I'm back. Reason why, just shit got really busy. I think I might as well just begin this video with an update on how I'm doing and where I'm at right now. Right now, the hard drive, I have no clue what I want to do with it because the people I'm sending it to are charging me upwards to four figures for me to just receive like 10 files back, which to me sounds like a really fucking bad deal, and I know it's a fucking bad deal. So I really want to find a place which can give me a good price on it, but even then I'm so tempted to do like hands-on work for it. It's gonna take a while for me to find someone who is gonna be able to help me out with this drive because I really need to fix this hard drive. And well, I don't really need to, but the majority of the stuff on it is fixed. But in the end, if I even found a good place that pays that charges decently well, I'd be down to just go over to their lab and check it out because honestly, I want to learn this. I want to learn the knowledge of this because I see how much shit you need, and at that point, I can see why the price gets expensive because you need like a vacuum chamber, you need like devices to, read the files, and like I see it, I get it, and I just don't know who to reach out to. My friends were thinking of doing a DIY work on it, but at the same time, I don't know how I feel about that honestly because that is a little crazy personally, To me, that's a little crazy. Oh my god, sorry, my hair's a mess. But yeah, I was thinking of doing DIY work on it, but because of how sensitive the parts are, there's a very low chance of me ever getting anything back from it if I did that as a last resort. So I think as of right now, I need to just look around and find a place because my parents are willing to help pitch in for the hard drive to be repaired. And then from that point, I can continue with better etiquette. I might even get myself an SSD instead of an HDD because I'd rather have something that, can back up my storage more reliably. And plus, if I'm only ever using my hard drive as temporary storage and not like full-on storage of my items, then at that point, it's like, I'd rather not have it be delicate with hands the size of nanometers inside of my device. Literally, you drop the hard drive one time and it's done. SSDs are a lot more rigid and a lot more what is it called? A lot more fucking sturdy, I guess you could say, like sturdy devices. So I might just do that. Let's get some blame this bitch. Woo! Yeah, it's 11:30, man. I slept in hard and I can't lie, one big thing about this break is that I feel bad because I feel like I should be learning and doing something more, but at the same time I'm doing nothing. Luckily, my really successful friends that I talk to, they mentioned to me how, they wish they could go back to the time where they were just less concerned about their work, and I hear that, and I'm like, fair enough. Also, in terms of YouTube videos, the main goal for the main channel videos is that I'll start pumping them out once school is over because I'd rather not cause any issues in my program by what I say or what I do because again I'm in a program with a bunch of softies and sensitive people, so you know what I mean. And at this point, I'm not scared to say that. No one there likes me, I'm willing to say it out loud. At least 6 people in my program like me. The rest of these people, one of them was literally happy when I said I'm never talking to you guys again after this program. They went yay. I don't like any of you guys, and it's mutual because you guys don't like me either. So let's keep that a buck. You know what I mean? You guys care so much about this film. You guys get all anxious and shit on projects. For me, I actually enjoy my projects and take time with them instead of you guys crunching them out. Oh, it's for school. Then why are you trying to make it, fucking film level? You know what I'm saying? Oh my god, this shit's so stupid, bro. It's so dumb. But again, I'm not mentioning a critique of my program whatsoever. I'm mentioning a critique of the people in my program, which I really don't like. That's just to, keep me, I think, legally safe and just logistically safe. Other than that, I think the main thing I can mention on this video today is that there's a very good chance or actually, it's probably going to happen for the majority of this year, I'm going to be a lot more alone than I was before. And I'm actually proud to say that I'm totally cool with it. Because I'm going to openly say it right now because in 8 days I'm going to address it to that person entirely. There's someone in my group who became a literal Nazi. and became an extreme anti-Semite. And this person liked to deem themselves as a close friend of mine, but yet we were never that. It was something that only he'd believe on his end. I was always, 1 foot in, 1 foot out of the pool. You know what I mean? And I'm very open in saying this because I'm gonna stand on my point. You know what I mean? And he's continuously thrown disrespect on me and my partner's name. And also, I'm not going to obviously go into too much detail, though he has mentioned extreme anti-Semitic beliefs and remarks, not apologize for them at all, and only has loyalty on his terms. There was one person that disrespected my girlfriend extremely between us, our mutual friend, and instead of checking that friend, he would instead keep hanging out with that friend. And that was already a line that I feel like I shouldn't have crossed anyways. But, me dating and eventually becoming the man I am today, I'm realizing that I value my partner and my integrity more than, just keeping things safe and being a pussy. And that's why I'm even recording this. Because, you know what I mean? I'm willing to air that out. The majority of you guys I'm willing to air out too. I don't think I'll be talking to the majority of people watching this video again, like if you guys are my close friends. Because, in the end, you guys will let this slide. You guys will let someone who said extreme anti-Semitic remarks slide. I'm talking directly to you guys. You guys will let this slide, and that's something I can't have in my life. You know what I mean? Like, you guys respect me, but you guys don't respect yourselves enough to have a moral compass, a moral code. You know what I mean? If I start something with this, I don't care. I'm gone. You know what I mean? I'm gone. Like, there's no saving this. There's people in my group that say, oh, we can help. We can make him apologize. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? This is what this person believes. There's nothing to make apologize. If you make someone apologize, it's a fake apology. You know what I mean? But I'm at a place where, these people want to say that they respect me, and, they do to an extent. But the way they are approaching this situation and approaching just tension in general, is very pussy-like. It's extremely like a pussy. Like, the majority of you guys are suckers. You guys are pussies, you know what I mean? Like, I'm growing up now recognizing that no matter what anyone says, if it goes against my moral code, it's done. It's good. Like, I thought genuinely I had to keep this shit going for a while. You know what I mean? I actually did this just to keep, peace. But what peace is there anymore? If you guys want to, like, I'm talking directly to the people who they know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to say any names, but you know exactly who I'm talking about. If you guys want to keep this peace between this anti-Semitic friend, if you want to keep the peace between this person, go ahead. But, I'm out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that leads to what I'm saying today, is that I am willing to accept being alone again. I'm more than willing to accept having barely any friends and being alone again. I'm not trying to write these guys off. Again, if these people eventually decide where they actually stand on this, then I can actually respect them a bit more. But if they're just going to let it slide and not actually bring it up to the person involved, that's something that I really can't stand with. This is all really fresh, but really what I'm saying is if you guys really just don't want to make an opinion on this in the end, and I said you guys because you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you guys don't want to settle an opinion on this in the end, that's okay. Again, nothing I've said has directly impacted anyone yet. The people who know are the people who know who the anti-Semite is. The people who know are the people who know that they are acting, they're not being stern on this. You know what I mean? Again, this is me not jumping to a conclusion, but telling people how I will feel about you approaching, I'm talking directly to you, to people who know you approach the situation. Because if you stand by me and say, hey, this is wrong, I'm not going to let this slide, then you're mine. You're my bro. You're someone I can respect, because respect goes in so many ways that you have to stand on what you believe. If you believe what this person is right and stand by him, then I just won't fuck with you, but I'll respect it. If you don't like what he said and don't stand by him, you're mine. You know what I mean? If you don't like what he said and still stand by him, what am I meant to do? You know what I mean? It goes to show that you have a moral compass, but you won't stand on it. And I need to keep people around me who are going to stand on business, who are going to stand on what they believe. I don't know how many people around me have that. So this is just to say that if you guys won't stand on business, I will. And that means if I'm the only person standing by their moral code, I'm alone. If 3 people stand by it with me, that's us 3 together. You know what I mean? What I'm trying to say is, the people who got their own back have my back. I got their back eternally. You know what I mean? There's no about, like, I even heard this from one of my friends. It's more so about how people treat you, and, you know, you should prioritize how people treat you. If someone is a terrible person and is absolutely breaking your moral code and personal boundaries, why? You know what I mean? They treat me right. They treat me right on my own on their own terms. You know, when their mutual friend was disrespecting my woman. You know what I mean? When that mutual friend of his was disrespecting my woman, instead of respecting my woman and I, instead he never mentioned a single thing, and didn't try to squash a single thing. You know, instead of keeping a peace, instead he decided to make it wrong, keep it wrong, and I'm gonna make it right by not standing by that person anymore. And you know, if they see this, hey, you know, sucks, you know, I'm 8 days early. I'm 8 days early, but really anyone who stands by that can go fuck themselves, you know? But that's really all it comes down to. Again, this is really fresh in the moment, but really to provide less details, I'm in a place where if people don't stand by this and they stand by me, it's cool. If you don't, you don't. I'm more than willing to go back to ground zero and start making friends all over again, because I knew from the jump that there would be something that eventually fractures this entire thing, and here it is, right? You know what I mean? Like, one of my good friends actually said this, and this is someone I really keep in touch with and I know stands on their own business. They mentioned, and I quote, that people are only really around for seasons, you know? Eventually, if one season comes, they go, the next season comes, new people arrive. And if you guys let this slide, you guys will just be another piece of my season. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean. I've had friends in the past who, you know, I previously got along with very well, but they kept me in an environment that didn't allow me to grow. You know what I mean? But now I believed that this group of people would have been able to help me grow, and it sucks that it's coming to this, and this is really just a telling point of whether or not these people will stay with me to the next season, or whether or not this season will come to a close with nobody. And even, like, I love my partner to death. Even if, God forbid, my partner and I were to split. I started this alone. I gotta rebuild it alone. I can stick my head down and work. That's what this year's all about. That's what probably next 10 years are all about. So be it. If you're with me, you're with me. If you're not, you're not. And that's all this really comes down to. Regardless of that, that's kind of like how I see my whole year going down. Now I'm a lot more confident in front of the camera, you understand? So that's honestly how I see this year going down, which is that once I'm graduated in about a few months, eventually I'm going to have to start busting my ass working. And initially I thought to myself, well, look where you are right now. You're not rich, you're not successful. I mean, I am successful to an extent, but I'm not financially successful, and that's really what it comes down to. I've done every single my wildest dreams have came true so far. I have been able to finally make a group of friends, which, you know, if that goes away, so be it. I've done it. I got 100 contacts on my phone. Yes, that's how down bad I was. I was down bad enough to want to have 100,000 snap score, which, you know, I got that shit easy in like a year, and I never touched the app again. I'm too grown. You know what I'm saying? So I did that. I managed to keep a partner over a year. You know, those are like my really personal goals that I've always wanted to accomplish. I did all those three. I did all that. And on top of that, I completed my side quest of now becoming one of the best Geometry Dash players in Canada, which sucks because the proof of that's on the hard drive I need to fix. You know what I mean? So there's that, as well as me running a marathon. I ran a marathon in my city. You know what I mean? I've done all these things in the past 4 to 5 years, and I'm about to graduate college, and there's so many other things I've done, like in terms of my Photoshop work and other things I'm even forgetting on the top of my head. I've achieved basically my wildest dreams here. But the last thing I really need to do is make some money. And I see kids my age with millions of dollars, Kai Cenat with his mansions and whatnot. And of course, I wouldn't stoop to that low of recording every single portion of my life, even showcasing the more sensitive, personal portions of my life on recording. That's something I actually would like to critique Kai Cenat on in the future if I ever were to give the chance. You know, there's several times on stream where him and a variety of other streamers will continue the stream when someone is either getting scolded or someone is needing a personal talk. It's very unprofessional and very disgusting to me, which obviously I'd like to have a discussion with those particular streamers if I ever were to have the chance, wildly have the chance. But my point being is that the only thing I'm waiting on now is money. If I can make money to like go further than this, because my parents worked hard for this. I want to leverage myself as an early 20s man to make more than this happen for my kids. You know what I mean? Because look at this position. I'm in a good position where my hard drive could get covered by my parents. Like my repair job for my hard drive could get covered by my parents. You know, and that's not for me to put a target on myself. That's for me to say that I'm in a place where my parents worked hard and they achieved what they wanted, and I'm not going to swindle this opportunity. I really don't want to swindle this opportunity. And this even leads back to what I was saying initially, that the people that are around me have to support this vision. They have to support where I am in this vision. And if people don't support me in terms of morality, in terms of logistics and whatnot, this is what I value. If people are not about that, then I'm gone. And what's going on in my current friend group is something that can actually really help me, you know what I'm saying? Can really help me structure myself, I guess, and really strengthen myself in my character. Because I would let shit like this slide all the fucking time, man. I'd let shit like this slide all the fucking time. And honestly, I'm at a point where I can't let that happen. I'm too grown, you know. I'm not here to keep a friend group. I'm not here to do anything, you know what I mean? A friend group, it's a friend group. If I'm alone, I'm alone, you know? You know, what did Drake say? It's just going to be me, myself, and all my millions. If it comes down to it, it comes down to it. You know what I mean? I've got a goal in the end. Got fucked up by a lot of people growing up in the past. You know, even, like, I'm not going to mention too much, but even in my assessment, psych assessment, it mentions deliberately, like, since I was a kid, it would mention how Tyler would make attempts to get closer to his classmates, but in those attempts, he'd fail to do so. I have been fucked over by so many people growing up and told what I can and can't do, that I'm at a point where that's the crux of my being. That's why I'm alive. So if you aren't about that, get the fuck out of my spot, man. Like, if you don't support that or understand that, get out of my spot. You know what I mean? I'm willing to cross lines with anyone who's willing to help me achieve this goal. You know what I'm saying? You know, obviously if they're a terrible person and go beyond my moral code, that's beyond me. But you know what I mean? What I'm saying is people need to fuck with me for everything. And they need to fuck with themselves for everything they fuck with. You know what I'm saying? It's just like nowadays, now at this position, there are lines getting crossed that I believe if people let these lines get crossed, I can't cross with them. You know what I mean? And it's gotten really messy. And I'm at a place where I don't really care. I'm here to win. You know, if people aren't about it, they aren't about it. You know what I mean? I think one of my friends, I'm not going to say it by name, but one of my friends said, they're leaving in 3 weeks. Why would I want to cause issues with this person? Because you have a moral code. Because you got a moral obligation to stand against Nazism, to stand against anti-Semitism. You know what I mean? You have a voice. You can use it, you know? Keeping a peace between someone who's a blatant Nazi is more important than causing a problem. Like, this is my thing. This person doesn't know it because they may not see this video. This person doesn't know it. But now I can't call you a friend. You know what I mean? I can call you a friend, but you're not a close friend. I'm not going to ever really reach out to you because you can't even stand on business. You don't stand on business. You don't. You know what I mean? I need to find people who will stand on their business and stand on their ground. You know, that's the type of group I'm trying to facilitate. You know what I mean? And if it starts with barely anybody, so be it. But that's all this year's about, is me sticking my head down and working. Even if it means I don't got nobody on my side, 3 people, 5 people, 10 people. If no one's on my side, I'm still doing this. Because I got to do this for myself. And if you guys are going to let all this hatred like slide, I can't mess with you. That's all it comes down to. You guys going to still kick it with this person. You know what I mean? I can't mess with you. You know, this is the shit I'm learning just becoming a man today. But in any case, if you guys continue liking the videos, they're still coming out every 3 days. You already know. Hopefully that Geometry Dash video can come back from the hard drive. You know, it is what it is when it happens with that, man. But in any case, like, comment, subscribe, all that nonsense. Y'all know the deal. Like Pickle, I love you guys. Peace the fuck out.